This is Intoxicated Literature.
Hello, and welcome to Intoxicated Literature. This is Evelyn Crow.
And I am Daniella Drake.
We're going to be talking about Seeking Stars by Leonor Soliz.
Yes, we are. A little bit different this time. Not a fantasy.
Not a fantasy. This is a cozy slow burn, though.
Is.
She describes it herself. So.
And I would say that's pretty much exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was right up your street, actually, when I suggested it.
You thought it was up my street?
Yeah, I did. What's the saying? I don't know.
Up your alley.
We are Intoxicated Literature, so.
Yes. This is a good opportunity to share with us spoilers. We will talk about the entire book, so if you have not read it, please push pause, go read the book, and come back and join us with a drink.
Yes, and this is a above 18, mature audience only podcast, so if you are a minor, please vacate the premises immediately. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. There also will be swearing, so if that does offends your sensibilities, I would recommend maybe this isn't the podcast for you.
No, not for you, sorry. I swear like a sailor.
Me too, and it just gets worse the more I drink.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So. And apparently I can't remember my idioms at all, so.
It's okay, my boyfriend messes them up all the time, and it's one of my favorite things.
Up your street should be one. I don't know.
I agree. It sounds a little dirty, to be honest.
I don't know, up your alley sounds worse.
Anyway.
Okay.
So.
But yes, I thought this was something that you would enjoy when I suggested it, because it is a cozy slow burn, and it is something that she writes exclusively, is cozy slow burn romances. So.
It was definitely interesting. I enjoyed it. It was a 3-star read for me, which is not a bad thing at all. I definitely read to the end and liked it all the way through. Well, I don't want to sound like that's not a good thing.
I recommended it knowing that there might be things in here that would bug Daniella a little bit, just because she has a degree in radio, TV, and film. She works in the entertainment industry. She's not an actress. She's not famous. She's not like out there being the thing, but she is in the industry. She knows like what's what. And so when I suggested this, it takes place in the industry. The main character is a movie star, and one of the female main character is a documentary filmmaker. And I'm like, oh, the technical aspects of this book are going to drive her batty. This is going to be fabulous. I'm going to recommend this book.
I did have some questions. Yes, I did have some questions as I was reading it.
And this is not a knock on Miss Solis at all, because writers don't know everything. We are just writers, and Danielle is a writer as well. We don't know.
It does not take out anything from the story. No. This is a purely I'm thinking technically because I understand how movies get made. That's the only reason that I had any questions at all.
The average reader is not going to be paying attention.
Yeah,
to
for sure.
This is just Daniella being Daniella. So
exactly.
But I knew
100%.
It would be hilarious.
Yes. I did. It was funny because there were a couple of times where she would set the camera to record and just put it down, and they'd be in the pool together, and I'm like, it's nighttime. Did you put any extra lights out? Because no one's going to be able to see anything. No? Okay. Oh, all right. Or you're in the pool and you just have the little puff microphone on the camera. You don't have a boom mic anywhere? You don't think that might be an issue? Okay.
Who's holding the boom mic, Daniella? Her? She's in the pool with the camera holding a boom mic for the documentary?
You don't have to hold it. They have stands for it. You have to be able to hear what they're saying.
That would be very romantic.
I know, which is why I was willing to overlook it. A lot of the time, it would pop into my head, and I'd be like, whatever, this is about the romance. Stop thinking about it. I was laughing to myself as I read it.
So it's worth noting, we actually read this as part of a pair to compare two books that were written as part of the industry in Hollywood. And we read this with, what is the name of it?
Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade.
Yes, Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. So if you want to read that and then listen to this in conjunction with our podcast next week, you can do that as well.
Yes, we are going to compare and contrast a little bit. I'm going to try not to do too much about Spoiler Alert because that'll be our next episode, but so you're aware, sometimes we'll talk about the difference of approach.
Yes.
In these books.
Just so you know.
So, yeah.
But, yeah. I just knew. I knew going in.
Yes. I really enjoyed it, though. I loved that the female main character was not this skinny, blonde, what we would see so often, like so often in these books.
The typical.
Right? Yes, that is the word I was looking for. Yes. This is much more normal
stereotypical,
yes,
romance, female main character.
Exactly. And I loved that this was not that.
Yes. Neither one of them were.
No, and I thought that was awesome. That was my favorite part about both books.
Because even though the male main character, what's his name? Liam. White guy, famous, attractive, billionaire, star, whatever. He's not happy being one. He's not a confident, I'm a millionaire kind of CEO kind of guy, right? He's not that guy. And so when you read a lot of these Hollywood romances, a lot of times that's that guy.
Yeah.
I'm the suave Hollywood type and I know what I'm doing all the time and I will sweep you off your feet and take you in my helicopter and we will have romantic times and it'll be amazing.
And you never have to worry about the darker sides of fame, like people harassing you on the street or at a restaurant when you're just trying to exist.
Or how exhausting it is to be a movie star.
Yeah. Or how you have to be on, quote unquote, all the time.
Or the scheduling.
Yes.
Or any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really appreciated that this book was not that.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I definitely want to make sure we talk about is the fact that Liam recognizes that he's struggling and he finds a therapist.
Yeah.
And I loved that this book was normalizing men seeking therapy.
100%. And it doesn't start in the middle of the book. He doesn't in the middle of the book suddenly go, I should go see a therapist. The first page of this book, he is in his therapist's office.
Yep.
It's not hidden. It's not some brain. And it's not the female main character's job to make him go see a therapist. He is already seeing a therapist.
Exactly. I loved that so much. You just don't really see that anywhere. It's absolutely acceptable for women to go to therapy.
Yeah.
But you just don't see it talked about that it's okay for men. And it is, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that.
To have that be such a part of this book and to have kind of his inner monologue be in his therapist's voice, I thought was really interesting and really fun. It was like, oh, I hear her saying that I'm reacting to this.
What would my therapist say?
Exactly.
How should I handle this?
Exactly. And I just love that because it's as someone who's been in therapy, it is kind of true where it's I can hear exactly what she's going to say. I know how I reacted and it was not appropriate.
It was not how I should have done it.
Yeah, I could have handled this so much better.
Okay.
So, yeah, I loved that so much. So that was for me, that was probably the best part of the book was that he recognized that he needed help. He sought outside help and was really taking action into changing the things that he needed to be changed.
Well, absolutely. And the female maker, keep saying she, Anna, was going into a Hollywood lifestyle. She was just meeting her agent. She was just going in. And Liam has been established. He has been with a agent for a long time. And they're both at different spectrums on the fame scale. And so we have Liam, who is just exhausted. He has been going and going and going nonstop. And his therapist is going, no, you need boundaries. His therapist is going, I think you can do better. Yep. You can have boundaries. You're a very strong person. You can do this. But his agent's going, no, we are just getting momentum. If you skip this one movie, you are going to lose it all. And he's going, I don't think that's true. I've been going for years now. And you keep saying the same thing every time.
And it's, honestly, the Colton is so dead on.
Okay,
for agents.
so Miss Soliz got that right.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Because this is the thing, is that agents usually get 5%, sometimes 10% of the commissions that their clients get. So he's just seeing dollar signs. Every time that Liam is signing a contract, he's seeing how much he's going to get out of those millions, right? So in his mind, it's like, I can't let this guy stop because I'm making so much money off of him, and I need that to continue. And so it becomes kind of a bully relationship, because he's like, I know what I'm doing, and I haven't led you astray yet. Like, look how successful you are. You haven't quite made it, but if you stick with me another few years, we'll get you there, right? But it's always going to be a few more years.
Right.
It's always going to be just a little bit longer. And
Right.
I think Liam subconsciously understands that. Like, he's like, I am telling him that I need a break, and he is ignoring me. And not just ignoring me, like, pushing me to do things that I told him I don't want to do. Like, he's ignoring my boundaries. And so, like, for me, that was partly part of the most realistic part of the book, was Colton just being like, I don't care what you're saying, like, we're doing this thing. And it's like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was another very realistic part of the book for me, and that was Anna's fear of sleeping with Liam.
Yeah.
And being seen as basically a prostitute climbing the ladder. Because for Liam, it wasn't a problem. Liam is a guy. And a white guy to boot. And she is not a white guy. She's a woman first. And she is a woman of color second. And she knows that the world is going to see her differently. And she is very afraid that it's...
And this is, I mean, that is her agent, Diana, who she just signed with, is basically saying all of her fears out loud.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, this sounds great in the moment, but he's going to get tired of you, and then what? Like, you will have tarnished your entire relationship, or your entire reputation. For what? Like, you aren't going to be able to get that back, and people are just going to see you as some kind of gold digger, like climbing the ladder, using this guy to get your career advanced or whatever. And that is her biggest fear, is that is what people are going to see, even though that is not at all what is happening.
That's the thing. It's like, when you see them together, that is not what's happening. There are definite feelings that are evolving, and there's definite, like, they are definitely a couple. But when you have the world looking at you, and you have that camera lens, just the superficial look at a couple, and all you see is what the media is portraying.
Which is often the case. You just see this small sliver. You don't know the full story.
And she knows that because she is a filmmaker. That is her job. She is a documentary filmmaker. She's like, my job is to do this. I know how it works. And Liam is smart. He's not stupid, but he isn't a director. He's not in charge of that. He's in front of the camera.
Well, it's also different for him. He's very much more established. He's white. He's a guy. Like, it's not as scary for him. I did have one major issue with this book. And this is probably just a personal, like, a Daniella special, as I think I should start saying. But, like, the start of the book, the whole thing about it was he wanted to start getting back out and trusting people and, like, establishing relationships with people, because he had kind of isolated himself from everybody around him because he had trust issues and he didn't really know how to handle the fame. And the first person that he's allowed to do this with is Anna, and he falls in love with her.
Oh yeah.
It was it was a little bit difficult for me to get past that, only because I'm not saying that it wasn't super sweet, and I do think that it was very believable the way that it was played out, like written, all of that. But I just thought that it was very convenient.
Well, it is a romance. What are you looking for?
My
God, Daniella!
I would have liked him to have some friends, like someone else. Like, so much of this book is just them talking, Liam and Anna talking. He doesn't have anyone else. There is literally no one else. He has his one friend, Logan, who's like a friend of his from college, which is so far removed that I wouldn't even count it. Like, there's not... I don't know, it just felt like he was latching on to the first person that he found. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I thought that moment in the pool where they almost kissed the first time was like, wow, so good. But it was just, it felt a little forced.
I mean, he is in therapy for a reason.
He is, absolutely. But it was just, I would have liked there to be another person. Just one other person.
It's like the bento test, but for guys.
Yes, exactly. Like, I just wanted there to be one other person that he could be like, hey, this is happening.
It really is, because she has a friend that she can confide in, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. And that was my biggest issue. He literally has no one else, right? Except for her. Which, okay, like, I understand. Listen, I understand better than most people that fame is the fucking worst. And I would not wish it on my worst enemy. Like, it is really, truly terrible. But also, the people that really love you are going to love you no matter what. And I'm talking friends here. I'm talking family. I'm not even necessarily talking a romantic partner. And so, having someone that literally has no one, has isolated himself from every possible person except for his agent, like, that just doesn't feel accurate, real, like...
I don't know. I think I might... Just because I just wouldn't want to deal with people.
Well, and that's fair. Like, that's definitely fair. That's, like... I
don't want to deal with people now. So I'm pretty isolated now, as it is. So I think I can see that happening to me. But you also have
a supportive family. You also have, like, you have me. I'm just saying. But, like, you have someone that you could reach out to if something was happening to you and you're like, I don't know what to make of this, or, you know, this could be detrimental to my career, or whatever it is that you want to talk about. You have a sounding board.
I guess.
And he literally didn't have that except for his therapist. So that to me was the weakest part of the book. And I'm not saying that it made me not like the book. It was just, I just kept having this thought of, wow, he literally doesn't have anyone but her. And that's so sad.
I think it is sad. And I think it's meant to be sad.
I think so too. But it just, I don't know. I felt like there could have been more character growth. Maybe if I had seen him just talking to a friend of his and being like, oh, I met this I'm working with this amazing woman, and I feel this chemistry, but I don't know if I should really act on it because it's her profession and I don't want to cross the line, right?
It was definitely a slow burn. The hem and haw was driving me fucking nuts.
Oh, for sure. But also, I got it from both their perspectives.
I'm not saying I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But I was like...
Yeah. I knew that you would love that. Yeah.
My God. Oh my God. It's just you guys. There's literally no one else there. No one is going to know, but you do.
Yeah. I mean, that was my other issue with the book, is so much of it is just them two talking.
Just fuck.
Yeah.
No one is going to know.
And it was, I would have liked to have seen more action, whether it was sex or not.
I mean, that is also just an Evelyne special. There you go. The slow burn fucking thing. It's just, look. If you're behind a closed door and there's no one there, just bump the uglies, man.
Just do it.
Oh my God.
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I know, you did.
I like that buildup of tension, which we've talked about before.
And when they finally do it, it's really fun.
Yeah, it's just much more satisfying, because you're like, oh, finally. And it's so good.
It is. But then it's like over.
And then, you know, I mean, Anna's got Evie.
Yeah.
Right?
Evie's great, by the way.
Oh, not Evie. Ellie.
Right?
Yeah,
Ellie.
I think
she's
I have
great
Evie in my notes, which is incorrect.
That's not right. Ellie,
No.
she's great.
Ellie is great. She
I
is the best
love
friend
her.
you could ever ask for. Like, she is basically Anna's shield when it comes to social media and how this whole paparazzi storm kind of takes place, right? No one is prepared for that. Ever.
And she was like, okay, here's the thing that women know, and if there are any men who are listening to this, which I don't think men listen to this podcast, but if any do, hi.
Hi, welcome.
Welcome. But if you may not know this, women are FBI agents. And we are, like, we literally can find out anything. And if it's on social media, we will find it.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's a question of whether we get killed or not.
Exactly. So when the social media stuff just started, she was there. She was in it. And especially because it's so emotionally destructive a lot of the time.
Yes.
And Anna didn't want to see it. And so she had a friend who was like, I will look at it. I will get all of the tea for you because I like drinking tea. And I will drink all of it for you.
Yep. And I will give you little bite-sized pieces for you to digest.
Yes. It was perfect.
Yes. I loved Ellie. I thought she was so good.
She was.
And the way she interacted with Liam was so good too. It was just like, yeah, okay, I see you.
Liam was just like,
I guess you can stay.
All right, cool.
He was like, I gotta impress her. I know how important this is. But it was, I mean, I did think that it was, I mean, I really liked so much of this book, the struggle of both of them to be like, this is something that I really want, but how does it affect the rest of my life?
Yeah.
How does it affect my career? How does it affect my other relationships? How does it affect everything else? What are the other consequences? And I thought that was a really interesting take on fame specifically. Like, that was a very different take, obviously, than what we're going to talk about next week, which I thought was really interesting, too. Like, just having this idea of you can be mobbed even if you're just going out for, you know, a cup of coffee or whatever, and you just have to really be prepared to be that much in the limelight.
Well, or just who you date can really affect your career. And you have to really think about, is it someone I really want to be dating? Or is it someone I don't want to be dating? So,
well, and your priorities too. Like Liam's character arc was a lot about setting boundaries and establishing trust in the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, he has placed a lot of trust into Colton, who is taking advantage of that trust. Like, he is saying, you're making me a lot of money, and I really need you to continue doing that. And Liam is saying, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. I'm completely burnt out. I need a break. And Colton's like, no. We don't take breaks.
You're fine. You know,
Yeah,
we don't need a
exactly.
break.
Exactly. And so that whole last scene where, which was, oh my God, I was yelling.
You know, that's actually a compliment to the author, the fact that you were yelling.
Yes, I was yelling because, first of all, they ambushed Anna.
Uh-huh.
Because they brought her into this meeting for a reason she didn't understand and tried to browbeat her into manipulating someone that she was seeing romantically. And then they blindsided Liam, who was one of their biggest clients, and, like, expected her to talk him into doing what they wanted.
Yep.
And of course she was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is
I know.
unfair.
I know. And I had a Kindle. It was on my Kindle, too. And I'm like, I can't throw my Kindle. It's $300.
I know. It was really upsetting. And I was angry on both their behalves.
Yeah.
Because both of them were put into an impossible situation. And it was so gross. And also for me, like, I was like, I could see this happening.
Yo.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I could see this little intervention, quote unquote, happening.
Absolutely.
And it pisses me off even more because I know that this is something that would actually take place in real life.
Well, that's because Anna is just getting started. She doesn't want to not get an agent. She just got this agent. She's like, I am finally getting hired, or, you know, getting an agent. I'm finally getting a step up. I'm finally doing this. I'm not just going to be on YouTube doing these documentaries. I'm gonna be getting into a bona fide Hollywood setting.
Yeah.
And then here she is with this, ha-ha! Gotcha! Moment. And all she has to do is say, sorry, Liam. You gotta do what these guys say. And then screw them over. And she can step on ahead.
Right. And yeah, it was just that moment for me. I was like, oh, too real. Too real. I don't like it.
And of course, both of them are like, fuck you guys!
Yeah.
Bye! See ya.
But I liked it too because it was so fucked up that Liam was like, yeah, no, we're done.
Uh-huh.
I'm not doing this anymore. I don't care what happens to my career. Like, you obviously don't care about my best interests, so I'm out. Like, we're gonna start the exit process. We're done here.
Yeah.
And Colton's like, wait, what? No. Like, yeah, my dude, like, you can't run roughshod over people and expect them just to stay in line the entire time. Like, that's not how people function. So that was the scene that probably got me the most. Although I will say, I loved him teaching her how to swim.
Oh my god. I
thought that was such a sweet and also erotic scene.
God.
And I think partly, like, the sweetness and the eroticism is all kind of wrapped together in my brain, because it was so, like, the feelings were obviously real at that point. Like, he was already starting to go, I don't know, this girl.
She was scared. Like, she wasn't necessarily going, I really want to fuck this guy. She was just trying to learn how to swim, but he was like going, I really like this girl. I'm
touching her now on her lower back.
I know.
Skin on skin. And
no, but that was actually a really clever way of building tension, I thought.
It was. I thought so too.
Really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene for sure. And for someone that grew up in Southern California, essentially, like, it was funny to me because there was a time where he asked her where she was from, and she was like, oh, Illinois. And he was like, oh, I grew up in San Luis Obispo. And she was like, no wonder you can swim all the time. And I didn't even think about it because I also grew up in Southern California. And I was like, who isn't swimming all the time?
I know.
We used to go to the pool. We used to go to the beach. Like, it was like a whole thing. So, of course, I was like, that's what you do. Everyone knows how to swim. Like, so that actually, I was very thankful for that moment as well, because it reminded me of my privilege and what I grew up with and how different my experience was from so many others.
Exactly. It was a really sweet moment.
It was a very sweet moment.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed the different teaching exercises in the pool versus the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Because having almost died in the ocean, I understood her hesitation.
Oh my god, fuck the ocean! That's all I'm gonna say, is fuck the ocean. The ocean is gonna try and kill you every time.
Yeah, I'm good. I remember thinking, this is where I die today, and I was 9. I was 9 years old, so,
Fuck the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean is always trying to kill you. That is my...
I will choose a pool over the ocean every time.
Yes. Jesus Christ. Fuck
so I was on her side. She was like, no, I don't need to go in the ocean. I'm good. I was like, yeah,
that. I'm like,
you tell him, girl.
You're smart, Anna. That's a smart decision. I endorse that decision 100%.
I also wanted to talk a little bit about her friend's birthday party that they go to. Because this is kind of the first outing where they're showing up as kind of like a couple. And it's her social circle. And it still ends up online. Like, people are posting about it. They're so excited. Like, whatever. And, like, because I live in LA, like, you'll be surprised how many random celebrities just show up at places. You're just like, oh, so-and-so's here. Okay. Like, whatever. And it's not that big a deal. Because we see them all the time. And also I work in the industry, so obviously I encounter them more often than most people.
Right.
This is not a brag. This is just a statement of fact.
Well, when you work where you work,
right.
That's how it works.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just how it works, for lack of a better term. But I thought it was really interesting to me because, like, she even makes a point of saying this where she's like, we can go to this party and I know a lot of the people there, but there are some people that they're inviting that I don't know. And so I don't know how that's going to work for you. I don't know how that's going to play out, basically, right? And he gets the agency at that point where he gets to decide because he has more experience in this matter where it's like, oh no, I think it'll be okay.
Right.
Right? And I thought that was a really interesting moment because as someone who has that kind of experience, he had to have known that it was going to be leaked. It was going to be posted. It was going to be whatever.
Yeah.
But there was still, I feel like he missed an opportunity to have a discussion with her about, here are the possible ramifications for you.
That's the thing, is I feel like he knew.
Yes.
He had to have known.
Like, she gave him a lot of power in that situation, and I think that he kind of let her down in a way, because he didn't take that opportunity to say, hey, I'm okay with this, but I want you to know it probably will be posted online, and you are going to now be in the limelight.
Yes, because she was so, like, sideswiped.
She was blindsided, for sure.
By all of that. And then it was like, but why are you... Because I was like, well, that's going to be posted. And I'm not in the industry, but I was like, well, that's going to be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's everywhere now. Sorry.
Yeah. I just didn't really think that was really fair to her. And honestly, part of me thinks because he's been in it for so long, he defaults to everyone knows that this is what it's like.
That may be it.
But I still don't think that makes it okay.
I mean, mistakes happen. And I think that people are human.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're not perfect by any means.
So, I don't know if it's not okay.
Well, in this case, though, this is the thing, is that he has this thought a lot where it's like, she doesn't really know what it's like. Like, he has thought multiple times, she doesn't really understand what my life is like.
So that's a fair...
That's why I... Yeah, like, honestly, like, obviously people make mistakes. I am far from perfect. I am not one to judge anyone.
I will agree that he does often think that.
But like, that was why I was like, my dude, you had this opportunity. Like, she gave you the agency, and you could have given her a little bit back just by saying, hey, I know that you don't really know these people. They're probably going to post about it. That's going to put you in the spotlight. Is that okay with you?
Right.
Because at that point in time, she hadn't really dealt with her personal life.
Couldn't he have inferred that by her even suggesting that these people
Absolutely.
are not going, like, she doesn't know these people, that she's inferring that it's going to be posted?
It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible.
Maybe it was
maybe
an
I'm
actual
expecting too much. Yeah.
Genuine miscommunication.
I think that's exactly what happened. Yeah, for sure. It was just, like, kind of annoying to me, but also... Can we talk about the fact they had sex in that bathroom at the party?
Oh my god, that cracked me up! Oh my god, it's like,
hard.
They're trying so hard not to be, like, you know, out there and, like,
yes!
on the, being on social media, and they're gonna go to this birthday party and have sex in the bathroom?
That's what I
Come
thought.
on, people!
I was like, come on, like, okay. Like, was it a hot scene? Sure. Do I think that that's exactly how they would act? Not really.
Like, everyone knows you're having sex in the bathroom.
Exactly. That was the only scene in this entire book that I was like, no, absolutely not.
I mean, my god. I was dying. I was like, really? Really?
And then the friend coming in and being like, I don't think I can use that bathroom now. Because you know that immediately she's telling everybody else they did it in the bathroom.
Oh my god,
and
everyone knows they did it in the bathroom. That is not a secret.
And that is the exact opposite of what they were trying to do, was keep a low profile. So it just felt very out of character in that moment.
I think also, though, that they have been so careful for so long, and they were just like, we're done.
Yeah, and they had so much limited time together, like...
And they were it was a friend's birthday party.
Yeah, it wasn't just some random party. I just thought it was hilarious.
But it was
I was like,
funny as hell.
Yeah,
I was dying.
thought it was really funny. I was also dying. I was laughing. I was laughing out loud for sure. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
It was one of those moments where you're like, can you imagine being the people in the living room?
I know.
Like,
the friend that invited you was just like, I gotta bleach that entire.
and everyone's
now.
like, turn the music up. I can hear
Uh-huh.
it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, turn the music up!
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was interesting.
Oh god. Because you know, no matter how quiet you think you are, you're not that quiet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like this is the last thing that I have on my notes to talk about was like how many people in your life, like, you know, that if you suddenly became famous, wouldn't matter, they wouldn't care, they wouldn't look at you differently, they wouldn't do anything differently, whatever, right? And then you have the people like Anna's ex, Dave,
Ugh.
who is the fucking worst.
Fuck Dave.
Who wants his 15 seconds in the spotlight, right? He wants his 15 seconds of fame. And so he just trash talks her.
Fuck Dave.
And makes people go on and like just like bomb the ratings of her documentaries and like leave horrible comments and just make her feel generally bad about herself. And it's like, my dude, why? Like, you're gonna get 15 seconds out of this, but she's gonna be around forever. Like, what are you doing? Like, but it made me think about the fact that trust is so important across the entire social spectrum. Like, it doesn't matter how rich you are, it doesn't matter how poor you are, it doesn't matter if you're like religious, not religious, if you're a person of color, if you're white, like, it doesn't matter, right? All of us have to choose who we put our trust into. And I think that was one of the main themes of this book was like, who do you trust and how much trust do you give them and how much do you let them see the real you and all of this stuff. And it really struck a chord in me. Like, I thought that it was a really interesting thing to talk about because fame really does bring out the best or the worst in people.
It really does. Because it kind of, it's like when you win the lottery, it's like money brings out the best or the worst in you. And it's kind of the same principle with fame.
Absolutely.
It's the same idea. And it's like, who are you when it comes down to it?
Yeah. I mean, that's really the main test. It's like how you treat people who are worse off than you really shows what your character is.
And it's actually like when I meet someone and we go out somewhere for the first time, how do you treat the people who are serving you the food?
100%. If you treat them terribly, we're done.
That's it.
Yeah, I will not be calling you again.
No.
I will not be talking to you again because I have decided that you are a terrible person.
You're a shit person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's what it comes down to. It's like you are obviously thinking you are a better person than they are.
Exactly.
And that you are more deserving than they are. So, I think so. And it's an interesting question. So, and I challenge the audience too. Like, think of the people you know.
Yeah.
Who do you think would stick with you and not be asking you for money or airtime?
Or just being out there sharing your dirty laundry. Like, I was thinking that when I was reading this book. I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many people in my past that I can just only imagine sharing, like, embarrassing stories of things that I've done. Because, listen, I'm a klutz.
Dude.
I'm a klutz. I am an awkward person. Like,
I'm not going to talk about the time I fell in front of our house because I walked across the grass. Okay? Grass! Okay.
Like, I say awkward shit. I laugh at inappropriate times because it's my coping mechanism. Like, there are so many moments that I can think of off the top of my head that someone could share with the press if I were to suddenly become famous for whatever reason, which will never happen, thank God. So,
I mean, it's true.
Like, it's a question. Yeah, and it's a question that just, this book really made me think about the people in my past and my present that maybe would throw me under the bus in order to get their 15 minutes of fame, hoping that it would lead to more. And it was just a really interesting thing that made me really think about it, which not many other books have. So
I think that's a really good compliment to the author.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was something that I really appreciated about this. Like the main theme of this is definitely the rigors of fame and loneliness. Like how you cope with that and what you do and your actions when you do feel lonely. How do you fix it? Like all of that. I thought that was very compelling, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Absolutely. For sure. And I think that actually ties in really well with our next book.
I agree.
The trust
and
factor,
next time,
for sure. So.
we've already talked about it. We're reading Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast the two, but we're also going to talk about just that book on its own, obviously. But we kind of did this as a twofer to see, like, which one maybe was more accurate to the entertainment industry, if there was one, which, I'll be honest, I'm not sure there was.
Neither author is an expert in the entertainment industry, so...
You don't have to be.
You don't
honestly.
have to be.
It's for fun.
Authors are
who
never
cares?
experts, really, in their field. So.
Exactly.
They're just writers.
So
it says 2 authors, by the way. So
100%. You can only do so much research. So if there wasn't anything else, I think I covered my notes.
I think that was all of mine. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we'll see you next time. And I am Daniella Dre.
And I'm Evelyne Crow.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Intoxicated Literature. Drink well, friends.